Kids these days are getting the coolest stuff, man. The coolest stuff. When I was a kid, Spider-Man came up to me on a grandpa motorcycle, and now Spider-Man's swinging through the sky as a robot before he meets you? So unfair. Oh, hey, Spider fans, it's Dan here. As you can see, last night I got bit by a radioactive spider, so now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to costume myself. Something I'm not exactly sure how a science nerdy 16-year-old has ever figured out. I mean, it's not like he got bit by the spider in home ec class. How did Peter Parker figure out how to, you know what, let's take a look at the costume evolution of Spider-Man so I can get some ideas, because I got to fight some crime, guys. I got to fight some crime. Spider-Man's been around for over 50 years. At the time of recording this video, it's almost been 60 years. He has seen a lot, and he is more or less Marvel's #1 superhero, and he has been since he's been swinging on the comic book pages. He's been in cartoons, he's been in movies, he's everywhere. And when your parents were growing up, if they wanted to meet Spider-Man, they had to go to like a mall in the summer and hope he was there sometimes, or maybe he had to watch the Thanksgiving Day parade to see the Spider-Man float, as well as a stunt float show with Spider-Man in it with tiny little beady eyes and a spandex suit. Boy, his costume appearances have been rough. And you know what? Theme parks, unfortunately, have not helped. Have not helped one bit. Starting with 1999's Universal Studios Islands of Adventure, the first Spider-Man theme park look. As the world at large was worried about Y2K wiping out computers everywhere, Islands of Adventure was milking the financial failures of Marvel by buying up the rights to the Marvel superheroes to make a new land in Islands of Adventure, Marvel Island. And Spider-Man, he's got a ride, he's got a meet and greet, he's got like a grandpa tricycle? I'm not exactly sure what we're doing here, Universal Studios. See, Universal had already been working with Marvel for years at this point, including an early 90s short-lived stunt show that gave us kind of an early peek at some of the Marvel costumes we'd later see in Islands of Adventure. But you know what? They got in before anyone else did. Spider-Man, the cartoon series, was huge on Saturday mornings, and Universal leaned into that heavy with this new amazing ride. One of its kind, 3D adventure with Spider-Man, and you could meet Spidey in the park on his grandpa moped with all the other Avengers grandpa tricycles. I'm not exactly sure what message we were trying to send here, but you know what? Maybe Wild Hogs was popular at the time. Everyone was really crazy about that movie, so we were just leaning in super hard to just getting heroes on bikes. I don't know. What year did Wild Hogs come out? 2007. Spider-Man at Universal Studios Islands of Adventure was ahead of its time. Tim Allen, I think, was in it. William H. Macy. And Martin Lawrence was in it, man! Avengers! The Wild Hogs were the Avengers before the Avengers, let's just say that.
Assemble.
The original theme park Spider-Man costume wasn't doing him any favors, but at the same time, it wasn't necessarily doing any crimes. It looks like a good Spider-Man costume. Now, your mileage may vary depending on the thickness of the team member inside the costume, but overall, if you're like a 4 to 9-year-old kid, you're like, holy crap, that's Spider-Man, let's go shake his hand. And that's all he needed to do in the parks. And, loose-fitting costume aside, it works. It works. Look, up to this point, Spider-Man's just been spandex. So what's another spandex suit gonna hurt? What does anyone know any difference on what to do? It's just gonna be a Lycra suit on a skinny college kid. The end. It wasn't until 2002 that Spider-Man started to get some gosh darn respect in terms of his suit, because Tobey Maguire, ooh, he was so svelte and tight. Look at that suit. Oh, it's got all the, he's got the six-pack and the shoulders, and he's got the things. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is the true American Spider-Man, all right? He loves a young woman with red hair, true patriot. He makes his costume red, white, and blue, true patriot. He's swinging around Manhattan, saving Americans. True patriot. Tobey Maguire is the true American Spider-Man, all right, guys? There's no question in my heart and minds. Tobey Maguire is where it's at. So as this brand new movie drops in theaters, Universal Studios gets the great idea to be like, hey guys, we got to put something together fast. And what we get is their answer to Tarzan Rocks. Universal Studios presents SpiderMan Rocks. And we have, we have Spider-Man and top 40s hits like She Bangs by Ricky Martin. You know what? This show is rough.
There was this girl. That girl, Mary Jane Watson.
This show is rough. We get moments like this. And in case you thought that wasn't bad, then there's this. And I'm not even exactly sure what is happening here. Nothing really happened with this show in terms of Spider-Man's costume, except for the fact that his eyes on the suit got a little bit bigger to help with the periphery vision of, like, you know, doing flips and rocking out hard. And his gloves, he went from regular Spidey thwip gloves to hard rockin' stunt gloves. Like, we couldn't have, like, you know, got a red Sharpie maybe and just like colored in the tops just a little bit. Maybe just like got gloves that had like spiderweb prints on them. You know, hey, it's okay. But you know what? We made choices. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And not to be outdone, we went super, super hard with a brand new Spider-Man Stunt-tacular Live. This show toured all over the place. It got remounted over and over again in different places with minor tweaks and changes depending on the arena or place it needed to kind of house. But there's some cool things. Around the same time up at Niagara Falls, for reasons that I can't exactly explain, they decided to open up their own Marvel Disney Quest with a Spider-Man shoot-'em-up ride, a little bit like Buzz Lightyear Ranger Black, but not, but bad, hey, you know what? Actually, my good friend Expedition Theme Park has a great video on it. Check it out here. Hey, true believer. It's Spider Dan here, telling you that only true believers get Magic Candle Company, MagicCandleCompany.com. I'm losing the voice. I don't know where the voice is going. Oh, I gotta stay down here. True believers. I just have to keep saying true believers. Excelsior. I invented Spider-Man because we just didn't have teenage superheroes. And I wanted to show everyone that we could do it, and we did.
Did you know that Arnold Schwarzenegger was almost going to be Doc Ock and James Cameron was going to direct?
Really? I'm really happy we got Alfred Molina, though. I love Alfred Molina.
He's great.
The best part, in my opinion?
Self-destruct in 3, 2, 1.
2012 rolls around, and we are desperate for a new Spider-Man movie because Sony needs to make a new one to hold onto the rights. And while Sam Raimi was kind of fiddle-faddling around on Spider-Man 4, they threw that out the window and decided to make a whole new Spider-Man nigh overnight with Andrew Garfield, Spider-Bangs. And this is incredible. We get a whole new costume, we get all new great looks, and by the time we get Amazing Spider-Man 2, they're kind of blending some ideas from the Raimi Spider-Man with the raised webs and the more defined spider patterns. We ditch the redhead and we get a blonde in this one. This is really incredible. Cruella de Vil is in this movie, guys. It's wild, all right? And it's important to remember, by this point, Disney had already bought Marvel for like $4 billion in 2009. And we saw that come to life in 2014 when Disneyland Paris announces a brand new meet and greet with the Spider-Bangs himself, Andrew Garfield. He drops into the Disneyland parks, he shakes some hands, takes some pictures, and now Spider-Man, the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man costume, is available for you to meet in the parks. It's fun, it's great, it's got that dark blue, it's a fun costume, and it stays in the Disney parks for some time, actually. And I don't even want to begin to speculate what the, contracts are for Spider-Man appearing in parks. Not really sure why they decided to throw a film that wasn't theirs into the parks, but hey, here we are. It's a great costume. This costume is really, really swell. They don't try to overcomplicate it. It's a very simple blue. It's a very simple red. It has a lot of very, very clean lines. A little bit of padding built into the suit because you want Spider-Man to look swole, right? You want a thick, muscly Spider-Man. But here's the strange thing about this costume is that they kept using it once we got Spider-Kid. Timmy Holland. All right, we got a new Spider-Man, but Disney's just like, we'll keep using the same costume. And Civil War debuts in 2016, and they roll out Captain America and Spider-Man for meet and greets inside of Disney's California Adventure. And what Spider-Man is it? It's the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. It's not the Tom Holland Spider-Man. It's not the new Spider Gear, Tony Stark Spider. I don't know. What kind of storytelling is Disney trying to do here? Not 100% sure. But while in the theaters you could see Tom Holland swinging around talking about the physics of flying shields, in the parks, you could meet Andrew Garfield. It wasn't until 2019 that the Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man made his way into theme parks with the big rollout, hype campaign that was coming to the culmination of the AvengersCampus opening up. And then, well, the pandemic happened and that didn't happen. But this new Spider-Man costume was superb. As Far From Home hit theaters, Spider-Man got re-released into the parks with a brand new tech Stark outfit. And this is kind of the web slinger Stark influenced outfit that we have been seeing now permanently in the parks all over the world, wherever Spider-Man's making appearances inside of Disney parks, as a lead up for this big new Spider-Man ride in California Adventure with the meet and greets. Look at this thing swinging around. That's Spider-Man swinging through the air. Do you understand that this is... Kids these days are getting the coolest stuff, man. The coolest stuff! When I was a kid, Spider-Man came up to me on a grandpa motorcycle, and now Spider-Man's swinging through the sky as a robot before he meets you? So unfair. A lot of these modern Spider-Man costumes have a hockey mask kind of form-fitting skull layer inside the mask to give Spider-Man a consistent look across the board. It works if the actor's head inside the costume is big, like my head, say. But sometimes when there's a little actor playing it and they have this universal-sized hockey mask, boy, sometimes we get some strange thicknesses going on with Spider-Boy. Spider-Man is very much a tech Spider-Man. He is a technology Spider. He's a smart baby Spidey. All right. He knows how to solder things. Things we really weren't being told in some of the previous, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man was good at chemicals and stuff, right? He was making his own Spidey juice, and that was cool. But Baby Maguire, man, he was just whipping from his own wrist holes. Which is, right? He didn't have Spidey juice. He just had to drink whole milk. So Spider-Dan. A variety of all your favorite heroes are going to be at the AvengersCampus. Plus, you're going to see that wide range of heroes like Black Widow and Black Panther doing essentially a living, breathing stunt show throughout the entire land. This is incredible. Spider-Man climbs up walls. He swings all over the place thanks to these really cool Stunttronic robots. It's this animatronic that Disney Imagineering has been developing called the Stickman, which essentially consists of these 3 pieces hinged together that when launched into the air folds into a Z shape that at its core is this functioning little slinky stunt robot, but they dress it up with arms and legs and a head and a Spider-Man outfit, and my gosh, when they launch this thing into the air at Mach speeds, attempting to time travel like a DeLorean, this thing really flies, man. This thing flies. And then, if that wasn't enough, that whole stunt spectacular is what leads into the Spider-Man meet and greet. He starts at the top of the building. He's like, hey, what's up? I see a roller coaster. I'm going to do some flips. I'm going to trip. Then he runs into the building, gets yeeted into the air, gets shot into the air like a bullet, lands, and then almost instantly, Spidey pops back up, climbs down a wall, and then hands out to sign autographs with kids. Are you kidding me? This is the greatest thing I have ever seen. To be young and have my mind blown in this way. The new Spider-Man ride is wild, a combination of like Toy Story Midway Mania and the Universal Studios Spider-Man adventure. You're going to be able to thwip and beat up Spider-Man's babies. I'm not exactly sure what these things are. And you're going to be able to save the day from like, you know, technology running rampant with your own thwip wrist action, unless you want to pay an additional $60 to pick up a Spider-Man or Tony Stark additional thwip action magic Harry Potter wand thing, you know, because we're just immersive storytelling is where it's at, guys, and it's going to cost you approximately $60 to get in on that. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you, but that's the price of being a Avenger, all right? It costs $60 to be an Avenger. That's it. That's a low price tag. Everyone wants to be an Avenger. Everyone wants to be a hero, and all you have to pay is $60 to be a hero. I think that's definitely worth it. Look, I know that I'm focusing on theme parks in this video, but I would be remiss if I were not to offer up to you 2 of my favorite things to talk about. Disney live arena shows and Broadway. Get ready. This is great. Running off the hype of the amazing Spider-Man with Spider-Bang's Andrew Garfield, and before we get to Timmy Holland's Baby Spider-Kid in 2016, we were presented with 2014's Marvel Universe Live, a collection of strong visuals from the movies and absolutely zero storytelling from the movies. It is a spider disaster. They implanted a shelled mask inside of the spandex headpiece that he could put on so that Spider-Man ends up looking a little bit more like a xenomorph from the Alien franchise than he does any kind of friendly neighborhood superhero. But boy, oh boy, Spider-Man's muscly in this, all right? Here's the thing about arena shows, and I've said this over and over again, you have to make the characters look big from a distance. And so it's all too much. It's all too much. Is this Spidey Hulk? I don't know. This isn't appropriate. None of this is good. But that is nothing compared to the 2010 Broadway spectacular with music by Bono and the Edge, directed by The Lion King's Julie Taymor, Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. Look, there's really nowhere for me to even begin to start with this whole show. I mean, this show is just, oh my God, it's a mess. It's just truly, truly a mess. But the costume is spectacular. It was literally flying around the audience's heads using a modified version of those cameras they use for the NFL to track players while they're, you know, throwing pigskins around. It's pigskins, right? Okay, good. I don't know anything about sports. This show was wild. It had all kinds of really, really impressive costumes for the villains, but the Spider-Man outfit took on a little bit of a mind of its own, unlike any other Spider-Man costume we've seen so far, in that it started to bring in hues of yellows and oranges to really help the audience see the bright red, in contrast to some of the very big, bold costume pieces and set pieces they were using in this monstrosity, bloated monster of a show. Holy smokes. But man, look at that costume. It comes into this bright yellow and orange kind of sunburst underneath the Spider-Man pattern. He's got a really great cut for the legs and the arms, but he swings. He falls. He does all kinds of great stuff. It's Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. Oh, man. What a train wreck. Well, not gonna lie. I can see how Peter Parker did it. I mean, I threw this together. It didn't take a lot of work, but it took some ingenuity. And you can't tell who I am at all. All you know is I'm good looking and I'm strong. Well, hey, let me know what Spider-Mans you like meeting in the park and in live shows. Let me know if I missed any of your favorite Spider-Mans that you've got to see out and about in malls or in live shows or in stunt spectaculars. Hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Oh, swing by Patreon, where I have some fun behind the scenes content for this video, as well as all the other Evolution videos you've seen on the channel. Thanks for watching, guys. And as always, you rock, Spidey fans.
I'm fighting crime.